Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Overwatch tournament. Time with Oversalt. We've got the Gothenburg Goats versus LD Academy. Now, the Gothenburg Goats is a team that's around 2.7, 2.6 SR, so mid-plat, and LD Academy is around low diamond. So it could be an interesting matchup. Now then, LD Academy, their main thing is that they try not to play goats, whereas Gothenburg Goats, as the name suggests, prefers to play goats. So this could get interesting.
So we certainly firstly see the Ana goat position and it's an attacking. So yeah, we're allowed to dream about a 3 DPS composition, but I don't know. I might doubt it. It could be possible though. Against goats in this composition, you're mostly looking picks on the Widow and on like with the Widow and Ashe, mostly on the Ana. That's going to be standing in the back line, trying to get flanked by the snipers and harassed by the Wrecking Ball. So, yeah. Who do you think could take this match? The Goats team or the anti-Goats team?
I mean, Goats isn't really that much in the meta anymore, although we don't quite know what is in the meta. And bear in mind that the anti-Goats team is a slightly higher SR, so there's probably a marginally greater chance that they're going to win, but SR isn't everything because sometimes match experience, dumb luck, hero selection, whatever, can completely change a match.
Definitely.
So
and you can see like now them coming out on this like double sniper position.
Yeah.
Mostly going to try to find picks with this composition more than trying to matches.
Yeah.
So it's interesting what the Goats teams are doing. They're like just giving space for free while the payload advances and just holding at this choke. Oh, the Widows on a flank get chased down.
Yep, we've got a D.Va on the high ground here that's trying to harass the people on the low ground, which is a good idea. He's joined by the Winston now. In Overwatch, the person who has the high ground often has the advantage. It looks like the blue team, which are the Gothenburg Goats, I believe, are holding it pretty well. Oh, the self-destruct going off. Well, it doesn't get anyone though, because the sand barrier gets popped by Puffin. It was probably a good move there, myself.
Huge anti-nade on top.
Yeah.
Gets collapsed on. Really good coordination.
Looks like our Goats team is struggling a little now. They've lost 2 of their healers. Although they have got a nano going out. And they have got self-destruct ready for whenever. Although, LD Academy also has 3 ults. Widow, Ana, and Hanzo. Although it looks like LD won this
so it was quite interesting about this fight. It's even though they've won the fight basically after killing the Brig with the anti-nade, the both team decided to invest ultimates with Reinhardt gets picked down by Onzo Stormare.
Self-destruct coming off from LD Academy.
Doesn't fight anything though. Oh, anti-nade. That got collapsed on pretty fast.
Yeah, now the Winston's down as well, so the 2 main players are down now. Looks like D.Va's having trouble as well.
They might pull this out even without main tanks.
Yeah, they might pull it off, but looks like they're retreating for now. Widow is still taking picks though. Is she gonna get anyone? Oh, Shatter goes up. And the self-destruct. And it gets the Lucio again. And, Zarya coming in with the follow-up.
I mean, that Zarya is not really high charge by now. Like, she's not really doing too much damage, even though she's like at 60 or 80% sometimes. But she's like, the passive way that they play double sniper in this composition permit them to go aggro when they need it, because the Zarya won't be charged at 100% and won't be able to do this much damage.
Yeah. That's a very good point. Got dragons going off there. It doesn't get anyone, but it does create some space.
And Yeah, they're retreating as
Like, Gothenburg goats are retreating a little bit, yeah?
a headshot gets final.
Yep.
It's gonna be point taken
On it down.
for LD Academy.
And LD Academy get the point, yes.
A bit of a late jump by the now switched Winston goats.
Ooh, Diva gets demeched.
Just gonna get stolen. It's gonna be bad. Oof.
Ooh.
That late kill is.
Looks
yikes.
like the Gothenburg goats are in a bit of trouble now. They've lost their Diva. And the monkey's coming back from spawn.
I mean, now they have some ultimates. Like they have Nano, Graph, Barrier, and Brig on the goat side.
Yeah.
Like they could create even like only the monkey ultimate, which would be extremely important.
Yep.
Just investing every support ultimate in seconds.
Yeah.
Interesting. Of course, with all of these ultimates, they they start getting picks. Yeah, they're just gonna win this after the first pick and the displacement. For next fight, they're gonna have a Graph Bomb, which could be denied.
LD Academy, though, they have Sound Barrier, which could be used to counter the Graph Bomb. And they've also got Monkey Ult, and they've got their own Self-Destruct, and Hanzo Dragons. They've also got Sombra now, which could be an interesting counter to the enemy goats.
Yeah, and certainly like to hack, for example, the Zarya before attacking, as she wouldn't be able to use her.
Yeah.
Graph.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as we talk about the Zarya, she just get obliterated by the self-destruct.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much going to be a not really contested push from them.
Yeah.
They're nearly arriving with 2 minutes on the time bank.
And the Diva gets hacked, so she can't use her self-destruct now, and she's demexed, so she can't use it now either. Which is really unfortunate for her. Oh, we've got a grab coming off as well. But he got countered by the beat. Oh, we've got a nano Winston. Yeah. Oh, it's a self-destruct as well.
Ooh,
oh, it gets the Sombra. That could be big.
That just denied her EMP.
Yeah.
And they lost. I think if they could have got that EMP online and used it, it would have been like a very different fight. Oof,
absolutely.
Ultimates even.
Ooh, gets the Zarya.
Yeah,
Zarya's going to lose all her charge now.
Yeah, she's lost her charge, but she's gonna come back, and they lost a pretty significant ultimate. Oh, yeah, that's because she's gonna switch. Okay. They're doing a kind of a good old
Ryan Zarya.
death ball with Lucio and Ryan Zarya.
Yeah. Oh, EMP goes off there.
What's a splitting dragon that gets the main tank on the side and supports on the side?
Oh yeah. Everyone leaves the payload and it gets within a few meters. But it looks like LD Academy is taking this team fight.
I mean, the sole fact that they got split by that Dragon Strike is just like, and they cannot do a lot of healing dragons. It's, I think the Diva got anti-healed, so yeah, that pretty much won them the fight, and they still have 44 seconds on the time bank. So if they could stretch that to overtime, it's going to be a pretty sizable advantage.
Absolutely.
It's definitely still winnable for both teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it could go to another round or two maybe, if they can full push this.
I imagine they're going to come out with goats again, since it's the Gothenburg goats.
Like Rialto is a pretty goats map.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are they going to do the Widow goats? I mean, that's a pretty weird Widow goat.
Interesting move. They swapped the Zarya off for a Widow, I believe.
I mean, on the defense, we have a pretty classical comp, I should say.
Yeah.
Like the Farah Sombra.
And the Pharmacy as well.
Yeah, the Pharmacy Sombra.
Yeah, we've got dives
Skylake
going on.
is
to
made
tanks.
to destroy goats.
Yeah.
It could be easily countered if Night Raven stays on his Widow.
Yeah, because if you can take out the Mercy and then the Pharaoh, they've lost their.
Like, just
their
even
key
denying
players.
them space. And
Yeah.
just denying to go so aggro on them. And charge ult at a
Absolutely.
extremely high rate.
I don't think they'll be expecting a Widow out of the Gothenburg Goats.
Ah, they saw it.
Ah. Well, reality doesn't always go to your expectations.
Yes, as we can see, everyone's pushed and pretty much really low as Night Raven taking high ground. Just a bit more.
It's a job of the
She gets
Widowmaker
taken down.
to
She gets taken down.
get the early picks, and she hasn't done that, but she got taken down by the pharmacy, which isn't good for Night Raven on Widow.
As he switches on Zarya.
Yeah.
A pretty interesting move, since now they don't have any
Counter at all to the
any
pharmacy.
counter. Yeah, it's pharmacy.
Yeah.
But they could still like tank it and play it, like just
Yeah.
denying something a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Goats is a powerful combination.
Like, it's not for nothing that Runaway won against the Korean team, even though their anti-Goats team was Farah, just running and destroying them.
Absolutely. We could see, for example,
Massive EMP.
Master PMP on the Sombra there. Off the side of LD Academy. Which led to a successful barrage. Coming off by Pedestrian. Now, Pedestrian was a star player that we were supposed to be looking out for. The team has high hopes for that player.
Yeah, he's well, I mean, just only like seeing him on this power roll, which is essential since the Sombra is never going to do enough damage to take down a Goat's comp.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they're gonna try to hack like for extended key, just like right now, and collapse on him. Oh,
Selfisher gets the honor
actually,
there. Oh, that could be really bad. Honor is the main source of healing for that team. Lucio can only do AoE at a certain amount. Along with the Brig, can do a little bit of burst at times.
so many ults used in one fight. Actually.
Yeah.
We had Sound Barrier, Diva Bomb, I think those teams.
Yeah, we had Primal
Even
Rage.
Transcendence. And it got it got the team LD Academy from having every ult to having every ult except 2.
Yes. They now
So
have-
like right now the ult economy is like pretty even, I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Like even though they're half at their ultimates. Oof,
Ooh,
6
the
man
EMP
EMP.
barrage goes off there. That was
6
well
man EMP
communicated.
barrage is gonna push them back to spawn
yeah.
really fast.
That was a great play. They only used 2 ultimates. It was well coordinated, and it was a team kill. Oh, the Far and the Sombra must be pretty happy with themselves right now.
Yeah, I mean that level of coordination is like expected when you play these comps, and it's gonna be really destructive if they do, for example, these kind of plays.
Yeah.
I mean, they still have 2 minutes and a half on the clock, and well, since they killed kind of everything before the fight could really begin,
Oh,
they haven't got so many ults out of it.
the Gothenburg Goats even tried to contest the high ground, but got demeched, which was unfortunate for them. Well, we've got a Valkyrie coming off on the side of the LD Academy.
Ooh, massive anti on the tanks.
Yep.
That's gonna push them way back, and Diva gets demeched.
Yeah. Although they did lose their Lucio, they've not got speed.
Oh, Night Raven, even with the less than 20% energy, getting them kills.
Yeah.
Really good plays from him.
And we had a Primal Rage there coming off, although the Winston is
Yes.
now dead.
But still, the antis that Hoflimer is using is like pulling out are pretty impressive. Like every fight, he gets both Diva and Winston, which is quite impressive.
Absolutely. The main thing about these antis is that if you're antied, you can't be healed. Which is, of course, a huge disadvantage, especially if you're a tank.
And especially if it's a goat's composition playing against you,
Yeah,
as they can just
absolutely.
collapse on you. Massive amount of damage.
Yeah. It's a pretty good counter there from Hoflimer.
Like now the greatest focus of the goat's team is going to be to just charge their Zarya as much as they can before pulling that graph out to be able to do 6-man
there's
again.
another EMP
And the
barrage.
Another 6-man EMP barrage.
Yeah. Oh, and there goes Night Raven as well.
Thanks for the assist.
I mean, it's a pretty good thing to do if the Zarya cannot be charged, the Zarya damage. If the Zarya cannot do damage, he's not going to use his ultimate, since he's not going to have enough damage to follow up on that ult.
Yeah,
So as we're
absolutely.
coming out on last fight territory. So,
17 seconds remaining.
Hack got denied.
Yeah.
Sound barrier got used, but didn't save Diana. Hopefully more.
Yeah.
That's going to
Just
be pretty
unfortunate.
hard.
Oh, it's got several ults going off there. A Transcendence to try and counter the grab. Although we've also got 2 Primal Rages going on, battling out on the cart. We
This
do
was-
have another self-destruct, and... Oh, there goes the self-destruct, yep.
I mean, that
Doesn't
was
get
pretty
anyone
unfortunate, since they were relying on that Diva self-destruct. And the
Yeah.
Diva just died seconds before, like, not even seconds, splits of seconds before the Grav hit. So she got demacked and wasn't able to proc that bomb.
Yeah.
Which ultimately cost them the fight, while also being really split and not reacting as quickly with the Lucio. Even though it's a solid team overall, they need they need a bit more like on the spot action.
Yeah, absolutely.
It seems like they know what they're doing because they do it a lot, but they cannot improvise on the spot.
Yeah.
And could be like stress, which could be like the reason why they are a bit late.
Yeah, absolutely. I imagine there's a huge amount of pressure because their goat composition, that is what they play the best, is being hard countered by the enemy team, which of course is undesirable for them.
Yes, of course. So nobody next. So this map is pretty favored goats. So what can we expect to see from the goats team? They're just gonna goats forehead and W onto the LD Academy, which is gonna be really favored in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine the LDA Academy will either go for flankers or double sniper again, or some combination of the two. If they do go snipers, they'll probably get the high ground on their side of the point. And then we can imagine that the Goats team will either contest the attacker's high ground, or will go main, or of course, around the flank onto the side of the point. You can never really tell which one they're going to do, but I imagine they have it planned out in their head.
Yes, and Nomani first is quite a hard point to defend since they have so many ways to attack it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, I just want to ask, can we get a little pause, like 2 minutes? Wait. So we're gonna do a little break of
welcome back after this break, ladies and gentlemen. We're now on Numbani, a hybrid map where the attacking team first has to capture the point and then escort the payload to the end of the map. On the attack, I believe we have LD Academy, and defending we have the Gothenburg Goats. Now then, again, the Gothenburg Goats are not actually playing goats by the look of it. We've got Night Raven on the Widow. And then they've got a sniper as well. The Hanzo as well, so a double sniper going on there. And LD Academy are going for a Bastion. Although we can question how reliable their initial picks are. Certainly on the attacking team, because they can still change. Attack Bastion and Attack Torb are unusual picks. But it's still possible.
We can always have hopes.
We can always have hopes. Oh, there we go. Now they've gone back to a Genji Hanzo.
Oh, Tracer Widow, double sniper.
Oh, they're going double sniper as well.
Oh, so it's...
Could be interesting. Who can out-snipe the other fastest? That's the question we're getting at here.
I mean, they have an advantage since Mobius can get shut down, get rezzed.
Yeah.
Because they have the Mercy, and he can
Absolutely.
get damage.
Oh, we've got the dive pack
that just
contesting
happened
high ground,
then.
but they get pushed off. There, yep. So the initial push for the high ground came out as a fail, but the Winston is trying again, followed by the Diva. Got a bubble going down here, but will they manage to take it? Ooh, they're being supported by the Mercy and the Hanzers on the high ground as well. Looks like they managed to secure themselves a corner of high ground. They're now aiming straight for the Winston, who's coming to attack them, and pushes them down. Oh, the Winston for the LD Academy tries to get the high ground, but misses his jump. Whether that was intentional or not, it was to be discussed.
And we can also talk about the switch on the Tracer by Mobius after getting twice in a row.
Absolutely. As a Tracer, he can contest the Hanzo and the Widowmaker quite easily and be hard to hit by being quite small, very fast, and mobile. Looks like they're going in for the point now, as Gothenburg Goats is being pushed. It's being killed as well. Hope has been killed, I think we can safely say. Certainly for holding the first point. It looks like LD Academy has got it now. Yeah.
So that was mostly of the collapse on, like the positioning of the Hanzo, like was not bad, but the response of his team was not really good. So he got caught off on that right high ground, and they didn't have enough means to sustain him, and he just got shut down. Was the only movement ability, the leap he has.
Absolutely. And here again we've got the Winston and the Tracer on the high ground with the Diva for LD Academy. Looks like they're trying to hold that, but the Goats are also coming onto the high ground. It looks like they're going to contest it in the doorway here with the Diva. Yep, Diva spotted by Mercy. Oh, they've got a Dragon coming in, trying to push away the Goats, make some space. Looks like it worked as well. We've got a Tracer and the Diva coming off with the kills there. Looks like the Goats are being pushed back a little, and their hold on the high ground is being thwarted. But the most important thing for LD Academy to do is push the payload. And if they do this by gaining control of the high ground, then that's that. But if they only have the high ground, they're not going to push the card. But it looks like we've got a trance coming in there with a Dragon. Although the Dragon was timed after the trance, so the Zen still died. It was unfortunate for the Zen.
And good trades.
Hope has once again been killed, as the Goats suffer many deaths.
I mean, this fight should not have been lost by Goats, because they invested so many ults, like Nano Bomb and Winston ult. So all of these are invested, and now they're switching. That click, they just used it to switch after this to a more classical Reinhardt Ana ult.
Absolutely. So we've now got the Gothenburg Goats going on what they're most comfortable on, which is Goats. They've dropped all their DPS characters now. Not out for tanks, but while LD Academy is still running the Hanzo and the Tracer that they were doing. So we've got a combination of flanker and sniper there. We've also got their Zen dealing huge amounts of damage, and he gets that kill off there for the enemy brig. And the Tracer and the Hanzo get killed on the supports. Hope has once again been killed. And it looks like it's a successful push on behalf of the LD Academy.
I mean, it was really interesting to see the Goats team like this, since, well, if you have seen in the preceding fight, the Diva actually went to the high ground to kill that Zen, but wasn't able to because the Zen had, well, the Mercy pocketing him, and he got Discord on the Diva, and I think he got G-Matrixed. So like they got like a free pick on the Diva and a free all charge to trans, which wasn't used, in fight, but could have been really important. And I think it's like an anomaly of this team, of the Goats team, that they sometimes overextend as like singular players, and like they could, like I agree that the Zen is quite an important target with his Discord orbs, and it can lead the LD Academy to do huge amounts of damage.
Absolutely.
But it was fatal for them.
Yeah. In terms of damage, the Zen is absolutely crucial because you get that Discord orb, you get that damage boost, and it looks like they've once again gone for a Zen. And they're all holding on the high ground now, except for the Winston, who I imagine will jump up after he gets the initial contest off. It looks like they've got Harmony Orb and damage boost on the Widow. So they're going for a bit of a gamble there, hoping she can get some shots off. Looks like she didn't manage to get any. And the enemy team is contesting their high ground. Although they're now getting bullied a little by the snipers. Oh, we've got a dive coming off there by the Goats, and then they're going onto point with the brig. The Diva and the Winston are contesting, and the brig dies, unfortunately. That's a pretty fateful death. Looks like it's the end of that push for them for now, as they fall back towards spawn.
So, I mean the jump of IDQC could have been a really big jump if he had got the right support from his team. Like the Diva got with him, but a bit late, and I didn't think he got bubbled at the right time. But again, jumping on a Hanzo and Widow, who also had storm arrows, it's never a really good idea.
Yeah. Absolutely. As you can see, we've got another contest going off here on the high ground, with one person trying to contest the point, and it looks like it's a victory for the LD Academy once again, as they push off the attack from the Gothenburg Goats.
I mean, the Gothenburg Goats don't really have many chance to even contest the point, since certainly with the Winston Goats, it's easier on this map since they have the little choke on the right side high ground. But as you can see, they switched because they realize it's not the right pick on this map against this composition.
Absolutely, they're now going double sniper, so they can hopefully get the picks off. They'll look to be aiming for the Mercy and the Zen, and then also for the enemy snipers. Oh, we've got a self-destruct going off on the high ground. Doesn't get anyone, but it does push the enemy off the high ground onto the point, where they then retaliate with their own self-destruct, and it looks like there's an Arna going down. That was a pretty crucial pick there. And it looks like it's once again a victory for the LD Academy on this team fight.
It's looking a bit redundant, since we're seeing IDQC every time jumping at the beginning of dying. So I don't know if it's like slow reaction or like lack of commitment of the teammates.
Mm.
But there's definitely an issue on
Yeah,
this
and
spot.
they've definitely noticed they've got an issue as well because they've done triple DPS with a Hammond, which is a risky play, but it could pay off because it wasn't working what they did before. Oh, and they've got a sound barrier coming off now, and dragons off the side of the Gothenburg Goats. Looks like they're getting some kills, trying to push.
Into the iris.
A Transcendence coming off from the side of LD Academy, which will help keep their team alive and secure those all-important kills on the Gothenburg Goats.
I mean, it was pretty much one fight at some point where they got
Yeah.
like 2 picks. They could have easily just focused down like the last person and have more like disciplined plays than being a bit scattered and playing like 3 DPS as it should be meant to play in mid fight.
Absolutely.
As we see him saying what it was.
Yeah. Absolutely. We've got now Doomfist and the Lucia who are trying to contest point, keep that overtime up. But it looks like they're both dead, and it's a victory for LD Academy once again.
I mean, it was kind of like predictable since like the beginning, since they didn't have this much of discipline, if you can say, on like their attacks and their commitment to cooldowns and jumps, mostly from IDQC. And then like at the end, we saw, I think, a bit tilted with the solo dashes and just running without the whole team regrouped. So we're gonna go on a small break right now.
Indeed. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Oversalt tournament on the 20th of April. We're now in the finals. We've got LD Academy playing up against Haxon Esports. Could be an exciting matchup. We've got LD Academy who don't play goats. That's their one key feature. And they've got Haxon Esports which do play goats as Sombra goats usually. We could see some interesting gameplay from both teams coming off here, and I'm hoping for a good match.
Certainly a great match, even for these finals. As you can see, the rollout of the defending team is double snipers.
Indeed.
As we've seen from them last match. Still kicking on that double sniper action, which
Indeed.
they've been very successful on.
And just as predicted, we've got the attackers, Haxon Esports on Sombra Goat, which means it's Winston Goats with a Sombra. So we've got a dive going on here from the high ground, contesting the high ground. Looks like the Diva won that from Haxon Esports. Although none of them are now on the high ground, and she's now been demech'd by the Winston, who's now gone off on his own. Oh, our Diva's Tracer Will is back onto high ground there. And Winston goes off to contest as Sombra.
I mean, this fight was, I think, pretty much lost because Nyx 3 was on the Sombra, just staying in the flank, invisible, and watching everyone, and not actually doing work and applying damage or hacks. So.
I mean, at the same time, she could just be scouting, see what the enemy team are playing, see how they're playing it as well, if they're being particularly aggressive or not. And once again, it looks like LD Academy are on the high ground here, holding the high ground, while Haxon Esports pushes the payload, literally right underneath the high ground. Looks like they're being contested now by LD Academy. We've got the Ryan with the Lucio going up against the Winston. Looks like Ryan's charged off on his own now. So LD Academy trying to stay around the payload. We've got a Zen on the high ground with the Widow. The Zen can deal huge amounts of damage there, which will help him get his trance up nice and quick. And he takes out the Ryan and Zarya from the enemy team.
Like, the charges on ultimate, you basically have 6 ults against 1. And most notably, like, Mobius on that Widow, denying so much space to the Zenyatta, the opposing Zenyatta.
Absolutely.
That he not even taking space enough, he's not having enough space for this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mobius just popping off. Doing extremely hard click on the head work.
So Mobius popping off in the semi-finals. He's doing it once again with the help from their Diva, Tracer Lull, in the finals.
Oh, he's not even letting anyone move.
Nope. He's getting that instant headshot off with the help from the damage boost on the enemy sniper, which of course staggers them, puts them back. Ooh, Mobius is now down. But he gets rezzed. So Haxon gained an advantage there, but then lost it immediately. This does, however, mean that LD Academy no longer have res available. Although, I'm not sure that would be a huge issue. We've got the Valkyrie coming off here, which gives the Mercy extra healing and extra damage. We've got Mobius popping off once again. We've got the Winston ult. We've got Dio trying to contest the high ground here, but LD Academy are firm and they hold the high ground corridor. They're now holding the open high ground above payload. And completely crush Haxon as they try to push.
I mean, this is pretty much playing around Obius as much as Oversalt plays around Jonak. Just giving him as much space as he can, allocating to him as much resources as they can, trying to distract people so he can get easier shots, and yeah, since it's his day, and this is gonna be his map, just popping up double kills every match. They don't even like get to move the payload under the first bridge.
Yep, they're now into overtime. And Mobius is down. He got focused down by the brig there. It's probably a good move on the side of Hacks on esports. It looks like they're trying to clamber around the payload. Oh, and they take out LD Academy's Winston, their main tank, so they're now at a bit of a disadvantage and they're falling back a little. And Pedestrian is down, and both their healers. Looks like they can fall back and reset.
I mean, that fight was pretty much lost as soon as Mobius got down. Like, when you invest so many resources into one player and you lose this player, you don't have the same resources to continue the fight. So it was pretty much lost, and yeah, this stall was not the greatest.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, like, the stagger on that diva was pretty huge. I think when the fight was done, she should have just died on the game instead of getting so hard staggered, just like right now.
Yeah. Well, losing that initial team fight meant that Hacks on Esports has gained the first point and are no longer running an overtime, which means they can leave the payload when they want, but they've only got 2 minutes to get to the next point. And it looks like Mobius is once again on the high ground with the support of his Zen, and he's facing off against the enemy Widow as Winston tries to dive him. Although the Widow is being protected by their Winston, and we've got a Primal Rage coming up here as he gains Mobius, focusing Mobius down so hard, and he goes down. We've got the Diva being demexed there. Oh, and that's a huge kill on Mercy. Looks like Hacks on Esports are gaining an advantage here, and they're pushing the payload towards the second point. Tracelol is desperately trying to contest the payload, but she dies, slightly staggered, and Mobius is dead once again, which leaves him very staggered.
I mean, the power of when you win a fight and then when the domino effect that it has on these fights is
Absolutely.
most certainly because it's a double sniper composition, and if you're gonna attack an objective, like when you defend and you don't have the point, you need to attack this objective. The enemy will already have the position and the cooldowns, so he won't need to invest them when he goes when the fight begins.
Yeah.
Like, for
We
example,
had both
Mobius
stealth
have to-
destructs. Both stealth destructs going off there. Tracelol getting 2 kills off it, whereas Hacks on Esports only got 1 kill, which then got rezzed by LD Academy's Mercy Lizard. And the Dragon is down now, so it looks like Hacks on Esports are being pushed back by LD Academy.
Like, the switches on the McCree is like really understandable, since now for example the LD Gaming has actually esports has the potential to burn down anyone with their two stuns, the Brigitte the Shield Bash and the McCree Flashbang. Like, even a diva could like live if she got double stunned like this, chain stunned.
Yeah, absolutely. Although we do see Hacks on Esports Diva being demexed there. She falls back to the payload to the protection of her fellow teammates. We've got a Giant, the Reinhardt, for LD Academy coming in for a little push there. It looks like he's pushed back towards their spawn. They're trying to fight it out on the payload, which is where Hacks on Esports want to be, so that they can get that payload as fast as possible to the final point, which is ultimately their objective. And they're pushing back LD Academy now.
Well, the interesting thing about the last fight is they didn't, when they killed the main tank and the demec'd the diva, they did not push on them, they just waited. And that's what's like ultimately killed them. It's like the monkey got back, the diva got back, they just pushed back, and they had all the space to push the payload, so they never actually stopped the payload. So they kind of took 2 picks and invested a lot for these 2 picks, and didn't get any value out of it.
Absolutely, it resulted in a solid victory there for Hacks on Esports, as they got the first point, but LD Academy can still take it if they also get the payload all the way to the end. And then it can go into another round.
I mean, this domino effect is pretty mad. They were like in overtime and weren't even expected to take first point, and then just took everything in and got still 8 seconds in the time bank.
Absolutely. And the psychological effects that this would have on LD Academy must be huge, because they thought they were winning and then suddenly they're not. And now they're probably a bit scared, to be honest. Yeah, I would be if I was LD Academy. Like, not what they're expecting at all. There.
Ooh, a weird defense on the side of Action Esports, when we can see them on Orisa Hog and Lucio, which does not really synergize these two heroes, except as they do many rotations. But yeah, it's weird as they have like 2 off supports and one's that's just gonna do healing for everybody.
Yeah. Roadhog does have self heal though, but it looks like Mobius is taking the high ground, trying to get that early pick, but he doesn't manage it because of the Orisa shield, which is probably why the Orisa was picked, for the value of her shield. We've got the Winston and the Diva trying to contest the high ground, with the help of the Hanzo, and the Mercy joins them as well. Looks like they've managed to gain the first bit of high ground, but they can't quite make it through the corridor to the enemy team. That would sustain too much damage from the Junkrat. Oh, and a hook goes off from Pedestrian on the Roadhog, getting Pedestrian the Hanzo. Shows a huge kill, stopping their push for the high ground. The payload, however, has now gone beneath the high ground, just as it did when Haxon attacked. We've got an Orisa shield going off there in the corner.
The shield game has been really important for Action Esports. The shield management from Bullet Boy has been pretty top notch, having it up all the time and having these clutch, well, as you can see it right now, hook combos on that diva that just prevented her from remaking, which is pretty huge.
Absolutely, and now we've got a McCree on the high ground trying to pressure LD Academy and keep them from advancing up the straight that they need to go up to get back to the payload. And we've also got a Hanzo on the flank. You can see him over here, Pedestrian coming in. He's got the Sonic Arrow going off. Doesn't do much though, but it does allow LD Academy to get onto the payload, and then they've got the dragons coming up here, which will split them up. We do have a Hog ult coming in from behind, but he gets taken down by the Reinhardt, and then a massive High Noon comes off, and it's a team kill.
I mean, with only, like, not only, but like they invested pretty much all of their ults, but denied many ults that like Action Esports denied many ults of the enemy team, like the Shatter and Dragon Strike, even though Pixel reacted late on that one and got their Hog killed.
Absolutely, now we see we've got the Junkrat on the high ground here, trying to lock down some bombs. But LD Academy are focusing on the payload. We've got a Transcendence coming off from the side of LD Academy, which will help to get their team alive. Pedestrian gets that very important kill on the Orisa, and Haxon Esports comes off with the Transcendence, but it's too late to save their Orisa. Mobius is now in the Junkrat, gets taken out by Faith. Haxon Esports Junkrat, but gets rezzed again by Lizard. Pedestrian takes out the Zen, and the Junkrat looks like Pedestrian is popping off, as we saw earlier. Mobius tries to go in for a tire. Well, someone went in for a tire, but he didn't get anyone.
I mean, these fights can, like, these two fights have been like very decisive. Well, since they used nearly every ult they had, and just like stuck with Transcendence and Riptire, as they used them and didn't have anything else to counter the incoming bolts of LD Academy.
Absolutely, and we can see we got a huge anti-nade going off there, which prevented both attacks from being healed on the side of Haxon Academy, which allowed the Grav Dragon to come through and completely obliterate Haxon Esports. So successful push there from LD Academy. Now they've got to get the payload up to the second point.
These fights has just like been a lot like what we've seen first, like getting really badly hauled on first point, and then just opening things up as the second point and just rolling through it.
Absolutely, we've got a huge hammer down there coming off from Giant, as it helps Pedestrian get the kill on the Honor there with the Storm Arrow. Lizard as well coming off. Oh, Lizard popping off, getting a double kill. It looks like Haxon Esports are being pushed back by LD Academy.
As much as the other fights were driven by the ultimate advantage that they ultimately snowballed, this one was like not really expected from them to win. But like now we can see the swaps on the classic Tracer Genji dive, and the other team just like running their McCree Hanzo deathball.
Absolutely, and a McCree can easily kill a Tracer if he gets that flashbang off. Flashbang in a headshot. Yeah.
The Hanzo too could get like the headshots on them.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Flash could just deny instantly any dive that they have.
Yeah.
Like if the Winston get flashed and they have a McCree and a Hanzo, you have a guaranteed damage of headshot of the McCree and headshot of the
Oh, that was Hanzo. A huge deflect there from Dragon, but not huge enough to save the game as LD Academy take the point.
In fact, and we have seen like pretty not the same thing, but very mutual attacks, like the defense of the defense of LD Gaming was quite brutal, with Mobius popping off on the first point.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't the same for the first point of attack for LD Academy.
Yeah. The thing with playing a Widowmaker like Mobius is you need to be popping off all the time to be making a difference. And Mobius was popping off until he wasn't. We did see Pedestrian though on the Hanzo with lots of Storm Arrows, headshots, which was some good action going on there.
I mean, if they're gonna like, when they built around Mobius when he popped off a lot, and he just won them team fight before they started, and they just started losing, they didn't adapt fast enough. I think that was one of the things that should be looking for in this round.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And certainly with the short time bank.
Yes, although LD Academy do have significantly more time than Haxon Esports do, so they've got an advantage there. Haxon Esports trying to get the payload to push, but Dragon goes down pretty early. And it looks like the Winston is very low health. Trying to get some healing, hiding in the back there. Oh, and he tries to contest the high ground. Looks like there's a contest for the high ground going up there by the Divas. Oh, and a huge res coming off there by Lizard on Mobius, who can once again start popping off. Does he though? That is the ultimate question. He gets into a 1v1 with the enemy Widow, Dragon, and Dragon wins.
I mean, it's not the Widows that popped off. Good Widow action is never bad. As they will push this point and get the first point within a minute.
Yep.
Impressive, quite truly impressive.
Well, they're still on overtime now, so they can't leave the payload. If they do, and the bar runs out, they will lose the round.
Their Mercy got got the bad spawns, and they don't yet have their support, so now they have them. It's
Yep.
pretty much giving up free space because of these stagger kills on the Zenyatta and
Absolutely.
Mercy.
And we see we had Giant and Tracer, the Winston and the Diva on the high ground there, but they jumped down with the Mercy. Oh, we've got a self-destruct coming off there from Haxon Esports. Gets Pedestrian. We've also got a Transcendence coming off from Haxon. Remember that they can't leave the payload. And we've got a Beat as well. They're investing lots of ultimates here. Although they have got pretty far to push. The only ultimate they got left is a rally, sorry.
This fight was pretty weird since the first pick was on the Diva on Tracer Low. He died really early in that fight, but then they got reversed as they got picks on. I think it was Lucio, and then when he came back, he just sound barriered. And so the ults that were invested on both sides just were not like really important ults, and this is going to be the more decisive fight.
Into the iris.
Yeah. Although Haxon Esports have almost got it to the second point. Oh, we've got two self-destructs going off there. Tracer getting 3, and Haxon Esports Diva only getting 1 on Pedestrian once again. Although Lizard, the Mercy, is also down, which could be an important kill. We do have Tracer and Giant, both tanks contesting the payload with only Bullboy on it, and oh, the overtime runs out. And it,
Yeah, a pretty decent attack in
yeah.
way farther than I think most of us would have expected. Out of the fierce defense LD Academy had on first point.
Yeah, absolutely.
First round.
If they'd done the same, and the same thing had happened as on the first round, Haxon Esports wouldn't have got it that far.
Indeed, they wouldn't have. And now on the attack, well, they have 2 minutes and 50. Is this enough to win a fight? To lose a fight near the end?
Well, we can hope. Certainly if you're supporting for LD Academy. We can wonder... Yep, it looks like Haxon are going for the Orisa Hog defense once again, this time with a Baptiste and a Bastion, which could be interesting. You get lots of damage off there. The Bastion hides behind the shield. It's pretty hard to kill as well. Combine that with the Baptiste ult, that's a lot of damage going off. Although it doesn't counter a Widowmaker or a Hanzo. Again, we've got Mobius and Pedestrian on the double sniper. We've also got Giant being Sombra, which could be interesting. You can hack the Bastion.
The thing I'm not understanding is the place of that hog instead of a diva. A diva could absorb all the damage that the Bastion would be taking, but right now, with the hog, they're gonna get some hooks and some like kind of stuns and hold hook combos, which could be threatening with a Bastion. But with this kind of composition they're running against them, like the goats, yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely. You can see the LD Academy trying to push underneath where Haxon are holding and come up on a bit of a flank, but Haxon Academy cut them off, burn down Ryan's shield.
What's gonna happen.
Yeah, very prepared there. And LD Academy realised this isn't going to work. They tried to fall back, but get sucked in by an Orisa ability. Back out into the open, but the Bastion doesn't get any kills off. There's some amazing healing going off there. Oh, huge McCree stun. Huge McCree stun going off there. But again, no kills found. And they're now pushing onto the high ground. LD Academy are. And trying to contest Haxon's Bastion. But it looks like LD Academy has suffered many losses in this fight.
I mean, this was pretty much like LD Academy trying to out-rotate the Bastion comp. They just tried to go under and then go up and then go under and then trying to to lose the focus of the Haxon team, which didn't work
Absolutely.
at all since they were really prepared and really good, great scouting for their behalf.
Now, again, Haxon are holding the high ground. Everyone on the high ground, and the Hog trying to contest the payload. They're getting a hook on the Lucio, on Lizard, and killing them, and it looks like LD Academy have lost this team fight.
I mean, they pretty much lost it since the Orisa. Like at the moment, the Orisa just put down her bongo, which like amped the Bastion damage by a lot and just broke the shield instantly. I think they
Absolutely.
should like, try to come up with another solution than just running goats against us.
Yeah,
Like, not goats, but like
yeah, double
like a
sniper.
double long
with a
range.
three.
I mean, this could be huge if they can pull this out. Pull this off.
Yeah. Oh, we've got two high noons coming up here from both sides. They both find important targets, one with Giant on the Rhine and one with Meku on the Mercy. And it looks like LD Academy are pulling off this, getting off the first point, and winning that team fight, finally taking out that Bastion.
I mean, it was basically doing wrong what they did right on the first fight, which is like the rotation, the understanding of the rotation they should do. They rotated really badly on this fight and got caught out of guard, and like just popped ults as soon as they saw that they aren't like winning it, and the payload's pushing behind them.
Absolutely. Now you've got, again, several people glued to the payload because LD Academy, just as Haxon were, are in overtime. Oh, we've got a Grav Dragon coming off here on the side of LD Esports. Does he get anyone? Oh, he gets the Rhine down to low health. It means he can finish off with a Fire Strike coming in from Giant. We had a McCree or a Reaper trying to flank, but gets slept by the Honor and then taken out by Mobius on the McCree. And the payload is now approaching the final destination. If they manage to get to this striped area, they will win.
Massive shadow of Doom killing Miku.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we've got... Looks like Haxon are several players down. We've got a beat coming off on the side of LD Esports, LD Academy, and LD Academy take this map.
Really nice, and like not like clean plays in the beginning, and then you can see like the endurance of each team, which is like pretty low, and they get kind of less together when they advance, which is certainly something they could fix by trying
Absolutely.
to brace the chaos and to play more together.
Thank you.
I think now we're gonna go on a small break before next map.
Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. After this short break, we've got Blizzard World this time, once again, LD Academy against Haxon Esports. Haxon Esports being a Sombra Goats team. They're not playing that composition this time, though. And LD Academy being a non-Goats team, and again, they're not playing Goats. They're getting the standard Ryan Zarya. With an Honor there and a Lucio. They've got Mobius and Pedestrian once again on the Hanzo and McCree, respectively. Got Dragon playing Zarya, which is interesting. He was on DPS last round, but as they're playing Goats, this would make sense, as DPS players often get put on the Zarya. We've got Faith on the Brigitte, and we've got the Diva going off there to play with the Rhine.
As like these two compositions are like really opposite compositions. Like you don't really see generally these two DPS paired together, like the McCree and the Hanzo, since they're pretty much like two long range heroes.
Yeah, you usually try and combine a long range and a short range, or maybe with a flanker. Try and get a bit of variation there, different targets. Oh, we've got a Diva here trying to contest the high ground, pulls down onto point. They've got a solid push onto point on the side of Haxon Esports coming up here. There's no kills as of yet. But LD are being pressured, and Giant, their main tank, goes down, which is unfortunate for them. It looks like Haxon Esports are getting the point now, as LD Academy can't contest that without their main tank. Anna gets a huge sleep off there, but will it be enough? Can the McCree hold the point? Looks like it's a no.
That was unfortunate. Point touching, but like Pedestrian had quite a poor sightline on the high ground he was on. For defending point, this is really not the best sightline he could have. So yeah, it was pretty much this that cost them the fight.
Absolutely. Just there we had a high noon coming off from Mobius, taking the Diva out of mech. Which could have been huge. That Mobius then gets killed by a fire strike coming in from Bullerboy. Bullerboy once again being an important tank player for the Haxon Esports. Oh, we've got a Boostio, a nano boosted Lucio coming up here. Not sure if that was intentional or not, although it does keep the Lucio alive, so maybe he can go in and contest, but he doesn't. He does stay alive though, which was good. Haxon Esports have got a very solid grip on the payload. They're not going to be letting that go. Oh, we've got a Dragon coming off here from Pedestrian, and it gets Pixel and Meku, two of Haxon's supports. Huge picks, and they get pushed off the payload.
I mean, these two fights were like the first one and the second one were pretty much like just pressing W out of the Haxon Gaming. Haxon Esports, and they just like rolled them, and LD Academy didn't have anything to respond to this. They were like basically, yeah, so now we're sniping at short range. What do we know?
Yeah. And now we've got Haxon Esports on the high ground here. They've definitely got an ult advantage. In the LD Academy don't have any ults up, whereas Haxon have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ults. It looks like they've just used the Brigitte ult as well, which gives everybody extra armor. And Haxon Esports gets several kills off LD Academy, taking out both their main tanks and now the Mercy as well. Which means that LD Academy get pushed back.
It's pretty interesting that to see like the goat composition of the Haxon Esports. Yeah, Haxon Esports was like just running on high ground against the double sniper composition, which that should not be allowed to happen. The Diva and the Monkey should be pressuring the front line as much as they can, and the Monkey should be getting as much cleave as he can to build up his ult really fast.
Absolutely. Again, we can see on the side of Haxon Esports, they've got lots of ults up. They've got 5, almost 6 ults now. And LD Academy have used Primal Rage there off the Winston. They've now got all their other ults, so this could end up to be a huge ult fight as we near the final point. looks like Hacks on Esports get pushed back a little bit, but they get that stun off on the Winston. They're getting him down to half health, which could be pretty important, but the Winston jumps away and survives the attack. Hacks on Esports try to stay on the payload. Oh, we've got a Grav Dragon coming off. Oh, lots of ults coming out there. We've got the Beat, we've got Transcendence. We had the Dragon, and then we had Self-Destruct as well coming off on the side of LD Academy. LD Academy have the spawn advantage here, but when they're being combined with the Grav and the Self-Destruct, they're being completely wiped by Haxon. That was a successful push there for Haxon Esports against LD Academy. They managed to have ults up all the time, it felt like, whereas LD Academy kind of struggled a bit on that exact area. They were being pushed back a little as well, time by time.
The last fight was getting pretty chaotic, even like because the fact that they didn't use ults in the fight before, like no one used them, even though they could have used it and forced the ults of the other team. Certainly when the Widow was already gone, definitely something that they could have capitalized on way faster.
Yes, and in this, looks like we've got, once again on the side of Haxon Esports, a Sombra Goats, which they like playing. And on the side of LD Academy, we've got a non-Goats composition. We've got a Pharmacy going on there. We've got the Dive Tanks. We've got a Sombra. And the Zen as well. Now, the Zen can throw out a Discord Orb, meaning that the Pharah, if damage boosted by the Mercy, can get huge amounts of damage off and can do a lot of work, especially if the enemy gets hacked by Mobius on the Sombra.
Yeah, the Sombra Goats is definitely something they could be playing on this defense, since they could hack and isolate, as they would say.
Absolutely. We've got Mobius here trying to go on a flank, but gets spotted and gets chased down and utterly destroyed, which is unfortunate for him, but Dragon gets taken out as well by the Zen, and then a successful fire strike gets Pedestrian the Farah by Bullboy the Rhine, which means the LD Academy are falling back and regrouping.
I mean, it's just like unfortunate positioning from Mobius. Like he just got stunned, and he just got picked out again.
Yeah.
It might be like him not being accommodated to Sombra.
Yeah.
Not having the reflexes of keeping back.
Absolutely. We saw him popping off on Widow and played a lot of McCree as well, so we can imagine that he's more of a sniper player, maybe?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
More than a technical happiness.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like LD Academy are trying to take the point here, although they've left it again. With Giant on the high ground here as he leaps away. But now LD Academy are controlling the high ground that Haxon were previously controlling, which is a very important piece of high ground, because unless you've got some vertical abilities, there's only two ways onto it, and those are from small corridors, so it's quite easily defendable. However, they've now given up that high ground, as several of their team have died, and they've fallen back towards their spawn.
It's like starting to be like kind of a pattern, as much as like in the last match, it was the main tank that was dying first. Now it's Mobius that's dying first. Nearly every fight they have, it's Mobius just getting picked out first.
Absolutely.
He might have to switch, even though it's a good pick technically, but maybe not his pick for today.
Yeah, we see Pedestrian coming off here, getting a huge kill with the help of the damage boost and the help of the EMP. We've got an EMP barrage again, which we saw on Rialto in the previous match.
Massive. 5 minutes.
Massive. barrage kill there, followed by Giant, and they're now getting the point. A solid point capture there by LD Academy.
And as you are speaking, Mobius switches back to Widow.
Yeah.
And Pedestrian going out maybe for taking his Hanzo back.
Yeah, maybe. We did see a lot of Pedestrian on Hanzo. Yep, absolutely. You were completely right. There. Oh, we've got ults coming off here. Tank ults, a Graviton Surge, and Shatter. Which leads both the supports on the side of LD Academy being taken down, followed by the rest of the team as they go back to their spawn.
It was a really nice shatter though. Like just W and shatter. Sometimes it's the best shatter.
Sometimes it is. This time it was one of those times. It's also followed up by a Graviton Surge by the Zarya, which was a nice pick. Looks like LD Academy are now trying to hold the high ground. Although Bullerboy the Ryan is trying up to contest, but gets pushed down. They've all jumped down off the high ground now and are trying to contest on the payload. We've got a Primal Rage coming out, which gives the Winston extra HP and defense against incoming damage. Oh, Nixry gets taken down. Haxon's Zarya. Oh, we've got a Widow ult coming off from Mobius. So again, which could be an important kill because now LD Academy can see where Haxon Esports are, even through walls. LD Academy are sticking to that payload once again, as is important. We've got a High Noon coming off now from the side of Haxon Esports. Dragon there doesn't get anyone, but we do have Hanzo's Dragons coming off by Pedestrian. Again, doesn't get anyone, but it does clear space for the payload to come through. We've got a Mobius on the high ground contesting, taking out Dragon, getting that important pick, which means the LD Academy can take this point.
This was like a really interesting fight, as you can see, like from the side of LD Academy. When you can see like the sidelines that Mobius is covering and Pedestrian is covering, like it's sometimes very different sidelines, which increases the space they own and the lack of potential of surprise flanks by the action team.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We can see Haxon here coming in for a bit of a flank. Are they trying to be cheeky? But the Zen has spotted them, and now everybody's facing that way. Oh, Fire Strike goes up, doesn't get anyone. Oh, we've got a Transcendence and a Graviton Surge coming out here. Transcendence is a typical counter to a Graviton Surge. It's not surprising that they came out together. Oh, Bullerboy and Dragon popping off there, finishing off the entire of LD Academy. Solid defense.
Yes, and like that gave them, like the Graph and Riley gave them really flexibility to advance and do a lot and lots of damage and charge up ults pretty fast. And Dragon Falls, which gives them quite an advantage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now I've got LD Academy again trying to go in for that attack. Staying on the payload as they should be, although they've still got 1 minute 40 left. We've got a Widow ultimate coming out from Mobius once again as he takes out Dragon, the enemy Widow on the side of Haxon Esports. And we've got a Shatter, huge Shatter coming down by Bullerboy, which leads to the death of Giant, followed by a self-destruct on the side of Traceable, I think it was. Yep, Traceable, coming off the self-destruct there. Pedestrian gets taken out, and Mobius takes out Meku.
I mean, like, if you see, like the fact that LD Academy held up this much time is because of how divided the team was, the Haxon Esports was. You had the front line on the payload, and the back line inside of the last point.
Absolutely, and now you have Mobius popping off once again on the Widow, as we've seen him do multiple times before, getting those all-important kills off of Haxon, meaning that LD Academy can push the payload that last little bit. Pedestrian coming in with the Dragons, and Tracelol, the Diva, with that final kill. But then we've got a Graviton coming up from the side of Haxon, but will it be enough to stop the advance of LD Academy? Pedestrian and Tracelol coming in once again with those kills, and LD Academy secure the payload, and round 2 is complete.
Massive attack from LD Academy. Really great sightline and positioning from the 2 snipers, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting third round.
Absolutely. I'm looking quite forward to seeing another Widow battle between Mobius and Dragon. I imagine
Yes,
that will be
definitely.
quite good. Yeah.
Extremely good duels and fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Dragon's going for a Genji though, rather than a Diva. No, Widow. And Mobius is going for Sombra once again.
I mean, like the Tracer, like they might be running an OG dive, a really old OG dive with the 2 off supports, the Zen Lucio. Like I'm definitely good with that, but Mobius on Sombra, that I'm not really sure of it, since he was the biggest cause of the lost team fights.
Yeah, I think I personally preferred seeing Mobius on the Widow rather than on the Sombra. I felt he was doing a lot more in that position, and attacking with Sombra didn't really work very well for him last round, but we can hope he can redeem himself this time. Once again, we've got the Pharmacy coming off getting pick damage, trying to throw those rockets in towards the enemy, scatter them on the high ground. We've got Mobius trying to come in for a flank. Looks like the push is successful though, as Haxon Spots are pushed into a corner. As the point gets captured by LD Academy, we've got a main tank and a Zen on there, although it's now being defended once again, as it should be. Miku coming in there with the Discord Orbs, trying to help his team get that little bit damage in, but it's not enough as Giant takes him out. The Winston player, and Tracelol, and then Pedestrian coming off as well with the Pharah.
I mean, this fight was a pretty long fight, and could have definitely ended way earlier. And it's like not gonna always put the fault on Mobius, but he was like really reliant on his mechanical aim rather than his team's follow-up on the hacks. Like he did not really use many hacks in this fight, as much as he could have used, and isolated and focused targets with his team.
Yes. Mobius does have EMP up though, and Pedestrian has his barrage, so we could see another EMP barrage going off, which we've seen has worked very well before. But Pedestrian here coming in with the kills. Lizard getting that res on their Zen, which could be important. Oh, we've got a Giant getting off the kill on the Diva. That's lots of kills, a one team fight for LD Academy.
Thanks for the assist.
I mean, like this team fight was basically going to get won by the combo, the Sombra barrage, the EMP barrage, but wasn't used, so it could be like even more deadly for next fight, and even like maybe push that payload to that certain point.
Yeah, and then another thing is that the enemy team, Haxon, know that they've got this EMP barrage, and here it comes. Here it comes. They were playing passively so that they could scatter, and it seems like it worked. The barrage only getting Faith there as a beat comes in. Oh, we've got lots of ults coming out now. Huge ult exchange. LD Academy need to stay on that payload though if they're going to have any chance at winning. Pedestrian getting off that kill on Meiku as the main tanks stay on the payload. Try to take out the Baby Diva. Oop, and the Rhine comes into contest, Bullboy, but gets taken out by LD Academy, winning all those kills.
This fight was pretty much a slow fight. Like that was what what like Haction Esports wanted. Like a slow fight could like help them build ults even though they're gonna get destroyed by the barrage, which they tried to do and mostly got success out of it because like the MP barrage just got one kill and then they lost after loads of time, which really helped them with the respawns and ult charging.
Absolutely. And now we can see LD Academy trying to make a push here, but Bullet Boy takes out. Oh, it's a huge EMP barrage. And then a res by Lizard onto Giant, the main tank, and LD Academy have won this team fight once again.
I mean, that was like pretty much like the counter argument of what I was saying, that it was good for Haction Esport to prolongate that fight to get ults, but they gave ults to Mobius and Pedestrian.
Yeah, which obviously isn't what you want to do if you're Haxan Esports right now. I've got a Transcendence coming off on the side of LD Academy, which will help keep their team alive and on the payload. Oh, we should have saved it for that grav though, as it would counter it. Although the important thing is that they stay on that payload, as the Zen is trying to do. It looks like they're being wiped out though by Haxan Esports. Can they hold on? They can't. It was an unsuccessful push on behalf of LD Academy.
Indeed it was, and well, it was mostly because of the ults, that the like overall thing that was Haction Esport able to do, and it's becoming a pretty redundant kind of fights. So like charging ults, using ults, winning, not using ults, or badly using ults, losing. So we might see them maybe try to swap things up for like maybe special compositions. Since they have to like, if they want to win, it's a pretty good time bank in the advantage of Haction Esports. It's nearly 4 minutes on the time bank.
Absolutely. Whereas LD Academy don't have any time at all, and they've got to get this. They've got to get this first point if they want to have any chance against Haxan Esports. LD Academy though are defending first, so if they can get a solid defense off, they'll be in a good position. Again, we've got Mobius on the Sombra, Pedestrian on the Farah. They're probably trying to hope for another EMP barrage. We've got Giant and Traceable playing D.Va, and we've got the Zen and Mercy, and they're going up against standard Rein Zarya comp with a D.Va, and we've got Miku on the Moira, going main heal this time. We've got a D.Va, no, Lucio, and a Brigade, so a typical GOATS comp.
Like
D.Va gets hacked though.
The fact of they chose a Moira GOATS is important in this. Like they know they're gonna run the Farah Sombra, so they wanna like have a lot of like inconsistent but like burst and long time healing for those runs.
Absolutely. Moira can dish out huge amounts of healing if her healing orbs and her healing spray is used correctly. It looks like LD Academy are getting the kill advantage though, although their Mercy goes down, so they might not get this anymore. It looks like they should be falling back. Yes, Dragon the Zarya is pretty full charge right now. Her charge. As LD Academy try and contest on the point. They don't want to give this up. Oh, they've got a trance coming in as well. Trying to build time. Oh, they've got an EMP barrage coming off. Getting that damage, getting those kills, and securing the hold for LD Academy. What a turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, like, sometimes you see fights, you say, it's lost. But then, the ult.
Yeah.
In this like, kind of defense, you aren't expecting this if you're attacking, because mostly on defense you're going to be running consistent compositions, but this one's really relying on the ults.
Absolutely.
Which is way more favored in attack.
Absolutely. Because you can slip up several times on attack and you can just try again, but if you slip up on defense, the enemy will capture that point. And you're in a bit of a sticky predicament, aren't you?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, now we've got Haxon Esports on that high ground as LD Academy try and go up and contest it. We've got a coalescence coming off from Haxon's Moira, Meiku. Oh, and we've got a barrage coming off from Pedestrian, getting a Meiku. Although Diva comes off with a self. We've got a counter self-destruct coming off now from Tracerlo, getting Pixel. It looks like LD Academy are winning this in terms of kills. But can they secure the point? Can they keep it safe? We've got 2 tanks contesting it on there from the side of Haxon Esports. But it looks like they're not going to be able to do it. We've got a shatter coming off there from Bullerboy, but he doesn't survive. Again, Haxon Esports are trying to attack, but they're down in numbers. They don't manage it and they fall back.
So like that's basically a perfect situation for LD Academy. So like they got a long team fight, which they won in the end, which like lost a lot of time length, and got them ults.
Yeah, they've got that all-important EMP barrage, which has won them so many fights before. And I imagine Haxon Esports are quite afraid of that. Haxon Esports trying to get the back cap off here, but Giant and Tracer will come in with the protect. We've got a Graviton Surge coming off. As it looks like Haxon Esports are getting the advantage here in numbers, and looks like they're going to cap the point, and they capped the point.
Was an unfortunate jump. And
Indeed.
The most unfortunate thing is they had the deadly combo. Most important.
Yeah, they had their EMP barrage. But this means they still have their EMP barrage. They've also got the Transcendence. They've almost got Diva ult. They do now, self-destruct, and they've got Primal Rage. Whereas Haxon Esports only have self-destruct and a Brigitte's ult, which gives everyone extra armor. Oh, we've got an EMP barrage coming off here, and it's a C9. LD Academy wins this round, just as they have the previous ones.
Really, really interesting map to look at.
Yeah.
Game, even. So, I think we're gonna go on to our break, and yeah, let's see what's reserved for us for next time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more action from Mobius and Dragon, and Pedestrian as well.
Yes, definitely.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the finals of the Oversalt tournament on the 20th of April 2019. Once again, we've got LD Academy against Haxon Esports. It could be another very close match. We saw last time, on the behalf of LD Academy, we saw Mobius and Pedestrian, the DPS players, popping off. Haxon Esports preferring to go for the GOAT, but can also flex to DPS when wanted. Usually they play Sombra, and they've got Dragon, who plays DPS and Hitscan DPS, and we saw lots of duels between him and Mobius in the previous rounds. This is going to be exciting. This time Dragon looks to be going Ash, and they've got a Torb, although this could be changed. Mobius is going once again on the Sombra. We've got Pedestrian on the far, meaning they're lining up another EMP barrage, which is very powerful.
Yeah, this combo was pretty much really working, and I don't know on this format if they could excel as much as they excelled on the to see
yeah, on Bliss World.
hybrid style.
Absolutely. We can see here Dragon trying to get some early picks off. Nobody's getting any picks so far. Oh, huge hack there on Bullboy. He's got no shield now. Maku, the Ana, is getting low. Although Dragon and Faith coming around onto the point now, trying to get control of that. With a soldier on the Ash to counter the Pharah, but it's not countering enough as they all get taken down by LD Academy. And as the final player picks it up, falls off the map as he's hacked and can no longer wall ride.
Yeah, like the fact that they run 2 hit scans just to counter the Pharah is like underestimating the fact that the Pharah could use so much cover and just like go over them, and as you know, vertical aiming is extremely hard.
Absolutely. Pharah plays in a 3D place, and Haxon Academy need to remember that. However, Hitscan is a typical counter for a Pharah. It looks like they're going in for a flank here, trying to gang up on the Zen, and they manage to take out the Zen on the side of LD Academy, which is an important kill. Although he gets rezzed by the Mercy, and Giant goes down, but so does Dragon. Oh, Pedestrian goes down as well, as Mobius gets a kill on Faith. And it looks like Haxon Esports are trying to get the points, although Tracy Lowell is coming in trying to contest. But with an Ana and a Lucio on point, with only a Zen. Oh, looks like everybody's going towards the point now. Bullboy is one and gets taken out by Mobius. And in here we've got a beat, a drop on the side of Haxon Esports. And it is enough to save them, and it helps them take out the enemy team, LD Academy.
This fight was an interesting fight to look at, since like the fight was pretty much lost when Rasvanagos was the Zenyatta of the Zenyatta got caught into the little noodle shop, and like really far from his team. But then he got rezzed, even though Giant was dead, the main tank. It was just an effort to prolongate like the time of.
Looks like it's got another EMP barrage coming off the side of LD Academy, which has won so many team fights for them before. But it's not enough. Gunning skill on the Zarya. You've got Transcendence coming off there to try and counter the Shatter that Bullboy got off. Bullboy gets nanoed, which means he can do insane amounts of damage. Doesn't take as much damage from the enemy team, and he clears the point for Haxon Academy. Well, LD Academy give up space. Haxon Esports, sorry. Looks like Haxon have got solid control of the point here as they take down Mobius. And LD falls back. Looks like LD Academy are trying to push again. They've got a Sombra heading onto point. Invisible have got Mobius there. Oh, teleports away. So they try to attack together, with both the tanks standing onto the point first. Oh, that's a massive boop on Pedestrian. Huge play by Pedestrian there, killing 4 of Haxon Academy. Wait, Haxon Esports, sorry. And it's a team kill on the side of LD Academy.
Yeah, like this fight was, I mean, not pretty lucky, but like pretty, found by pedestrian spook, and
Haxon Esports are on the point though, trying to get a sneaky back cap. Looks like they can manage it as well with the tanks on there as they kill LD Academy as they come in and try to defend. Pedestrian goes down as well. We've still got a Mercy in the back though. Mobius trying to protect him, but it's not enough. Honor comes on with the anti. Oh, can they trigger the overtime? We've got a self-destruct coming in now, but they're protected by the rain shield. Oh, huge EMP going off there.
Oh.
Massive EMP there. We've got a barrage, but they need to touch the point. They need to touch the point if they're going to manage to hit it. And Haxon Esports takes this round.
Well, definitely quite a sloppy start for LD Academy. Even though they like were at more than 60% on their percentage, but it was like mostly individual play, and the follow-ups that we used to see from this team and like the level of team play has definitely decreased a lot, which could mean a lot about well, this map, which don't really favor their preferred playing style.
Yeah, absolutely. Also remember though that this is their second consecutive match, and they've played several games now, so they must be pretty tired, they must be pretty stressed at this point, and I think that's beginning to show in their gameplay. They're holding out surprisingly well though, although they have changed things up a little bit with Mobius. Going on the brig, so they're playing a Maygoats, meaning that they can wall off Haxon Esports when they come in and try to attack. The control point unlocks soon. LD Academy are on the control point, whereas Haxon Esports are holding the high ground above the point, trying to drop down and contest it with them. Oh, we've got a Giant coming off with the kill on Pixel there, but Dragon of Faith come off and kill two of LD Academy's supports before Pedestrian takes out Zarya, but will it be enough? LD Academy are down in numbers, but trying to hold the point now. Got Ryan being sealed off here by the May wall, with Pixel coming in trying to support with his wall riding ability being crucial when facing Maygoats. Looks like LD Academy have taken the point though, and again use that wall to block off players. Faith gets taken out with a headshot after being frozen by Pedestrian. And Haxon Esports are being pushed back.
Yeah, definitely. Like this fight was pretty key, like pretty. They should have been won a long time ago by the LD Academy team, which had like walled and got pigs because of that wall, but like then just got reversed. And the Haxon Esports did not have time to respond and recap this point to get their percentage going.
And here we see a huge shatter by Giant coming off, even though he has now passed away sadly. May he be revived soon. As Haxon Esports try to use this advantage to attack the point, LD Academy fall back, knowing that the point is more important than securing the kills. As Bullerboy comes in, tries to get a few swings in and kill, but he gets frozen. We've got a Graviton Surge coming off on the side of LD Academy. Well, it doesn't do much, because they were distracted by a High Noon coming in from the side of Dragon. LD Academy, though, appear to have secured the point for now, with only a Reaper laying on the sneaky flank behind. He dies them.
Yeah, this fight was like it was mostly won because of the sound barrier that didn't hit Bullboy, which like he was low. It was basically for him to save him, but he wasn't able to connect with it.
Yeah, and here we saw a Graviton Surge coming off, and we saw a Shatter, which was a lot of crowd control against LD Academy, and they got wiped out by Haxon Esports in a very clean push. It was a very clean push on the side of Haxon Esports, and they're now moving up towards LD Academy spawn in an attempt to hold them. So Fire Strike getting on by Bullboy. He's trying to build that ultimate again. that all-important crowd control. We do have a May ult up now, and Dragon uses his high noon and gets 3 kills there. Off the main tank, the off spot, and the main spot, very important kills there. Tracer goes down as well. All LD Academy can do now is back away.
And, like, pretty much what happened is, well, the ult economy flipped when it got to 91%, and now it's just like kind of a classic thing in these control maps, where you like get 99 to 299, but it's just because like the one team played better and then got like flipped because of ult economy.
Absolutely, ults are incredibly important in this game. They can win or lose team fights. We've got a Nano Reaper coming off here with the Death Blossom. Doesn't kill anyone, but it takes out a giant's shield. The Reaper almost gets killed, and Pedestrian and the Lizard get off 2 kills together. Headshots there. We've got Graviton Surge coming off there on the side of Rixie, but it doesn't get anyone. Tracer getting those important kills. And LD Academy get the point back, and it slips into overtime.
Well, this one is definitely because they like really reacted really well to that to the nano boosted Beyblade. Like now it's basically stalling for their lives, but they won't be able to get it.
Absolutely. Normally when you go with an nano-boosted Reaper who does a Death Blossom, you expect him to survive, you expect him to get lots of kills, even though he'll be the main focus of the enemy fire, because he'll do huge amounts of damage, especially when nano-boosted, and he won't take as much damage with the nano-boost. Sadly, however, it didn't work out for Hacks on Esports, as LD Academy countered it successfully.
Now we can like see this map, which is definitely going to be a LD Academy favoring map, with the sightlines for the Widow, with the skybox and huge skies for the Vara. Definitely something that they could win and even should win at this point in time.
Yeah, it looks like Hacks on Esports are getting a bit of a strange combination here with quadruple DPS. Triple DPS, sorry, I can't count. With a Hammond. They kind of reversed it a bit because they're going for an EMP barrage now, which is what LD Academy have been relying on previously, although they won't be using it now with Mobius going on the Widowmaker. Mobius gets that all-important kill off on Faith, eliminating all their DPS, so they can take the objective. With the Hammond coming in here, but Diva comes in, tries to contest. Ooh, LD Academy get a team wipe after a successful res, and they take the objective.
Yeah, like I mean, this one could not go wrong, since Dragon was on that Hanzo. It's pretty hard to kill a pharmacy with a Hanzo, even though you hit many of these shots. You might be looking for a res here. Or Lizard.
We saw LD Academy use the res in the last team fight though, so they won't have that up yet. Oh, Pedestrian gets taken out by Dragon. That's unfortunate for Pedestrian. Looks like Hacks on Esports are winning this team fight against LD Esports.
Well, it was mostly because, like, first Mobius got picked really early, and their Zenyatta got really caught far by the Hammond. Like, I think this Hammond is mostly to punish the positional mistakes that the Zen has been doing, and they've been noticing them, and the Hammond just gives them the opportunity to punish way more and way better. Yeah,
I mean, in the last map we saw the Zen get cornered off on his own and then get bullied. He did get res though, just lucky for him. It looks like LD Academy are trying to take this point. There's no kills come off yet, although they did use Valkyrie. No, sorry, Haxon used Valkyrie. As Meku tries to keep Bullboy alive, their only tank. And they run in to secure the point, or try and defend it, rather. As LD Academy are trying to attack it. Oh, Mobius getting that 1v1 off with Dragon and the kill on the Sombra. Oh, we've got Pedestrian coming off here with a barrage. Doesn't get anyone though. Although it does make Bullboy really quite low on the point, allowing him to be killed with a rocket quite easily. Mobius getting that kill on Pixel as well.
Well, the beginning of this fight will really imply that Haction Gaming was winning, certainly when the Hammond was attacking Mobius in the back line, and he got held by the pharmacy, so that was 3 teammates focusing on someone that didn't even die. It was like basically the front line against the whole enemy team, but the fact that Mobius popped off after that and got like 3 kills, one on the Widow, one on the Sombra, and another one on the I think. Really
Slowly. Got a huge EMP coming off on the side of Haxon Esports. Although it doesn't get anyone, we've got a minefield coming off from the Hammond, who is now staying on the point, rotating around it. Oh, we've got a barrage, a damage boosted barrage. Unfortunately, it doesn't secure any kills other than on Tracelol, the LD Academy Diva. Looks like Faith, the Farah, is securing lots of kills though, meaning Haxon Esports will be able to take this point.
A really back and forth map for this one. Mostly because of the fact that these comps are not really symmetric. Even though they both have Widow and Farah, it is like the win conditions are extremely different. Like the win conditions of Haction could be just distraction with the ball, or just like focusing someone down. But LD Academy will be more of a farm the barrage and try to assist this as much as we can.
Absolutely, we've got EMPs going off here as LD Academy try and take the point back, even though Haxon Esports are at 99. Anything they do now will be a stall until they manage to secure the point. They do have 2 tanks. Mobius is popping off once again, on that Sombra. As usual, we've grown to expect that from Mobius at this point. Looks like LD Academy are securing the point though, thanks to the hard work from the tanks on point and from Mobius off point. They completely took out Faith, who was going in for a barrage. Haxon Esports coming back into the point now, trying to get it back, trying to trigger that overtime. Oh, they've got a minefield on the point now, which does a lot of area denial. Ooh, Pixel got slept there by the Honor.
Very nice sleeps.
Yeah.
Both Annas were doing 6 sleep dives all over the series, but we weren't really noticing them. They were like minor ones, but really nice ones.
Yeah. Looks like it's been a lot of kills back and forth now between Haxon Esports and LD Academy. Though it looks like LD Academy have taken the advantage now, and they will secure.
And it's a win for LD Academy.
They secured the victory.
That was a really nice series of games. Really, much closer than the score would suggest.
Absolutely.
As a 3-0, but it wasn't. It shows.
Yeah, and this was the huge play by Pedestrian we talked about, where he got just that amazing boot followed by those kills, and Haxon Esports just had to back away.
Yeah.
Alright, this was the final map. LD Academy won every single map thus far against Haxon Esports, which means they have won the tournament, as this was the final match.
See you next time, next Saturday.